says edit channels. You open it up, and then there's a toggle. Like I can toggle these off and on.
Yeah, it's just it's flashing there saying sending data, streaming.
Okay, now it should pick up for you. If you start to see it saying sending.
Yeah, we are good. Oh yeah, cool. Awesome. Welcome back, Cody.
Hey, we got through our technical difficulties all around.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for this 2 seconds. You know how it goes.
So what's been happening? Lots of green yesterday, and wake up this morning to lots of red.
Oh, that's, you know what? There was, I mean, chart wise, there was bearish divergence, and the market makers took advantage of the US PPI. I mean, there was a pullback happening anyway, but then when they came out with the bad news with the PPI, they scared everybody and dumped it. They cleaned out $1 billion in liquidations. They took it exactly down 50%. It's a 50% retracement. ETH, Bitcoin, every coin. It's classic. Clean out liquidity, and we're right where we were 3 days ago.
Yeah.
You know, it looks to me like, you know, again, institutions are controlling at least the large cap coins, anything with an ETF, and ETH had a massive run, and now they're going to control that too. Like Bitcoin, they do not want going up right now. It looks like Bitcoin is in a classic consolidation pattern, and if you look on chain, they're wallets above 10 Bitcoin are accumulating. So, you know, they'll let it go when they want to let it go. It has been interesting. For the first time since November of last year, Google searches for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and for crypto have gone up. So retail has taken at least some interest. But, you know, if they bore everybody out of the market, we'll be in the same place where they're fully in control. So, but good news is I mean, we've talked about this before. ETH had to move before there could be any kind of hope for altcoins, and at least ETH moved, but it needs to go much higher. I don't think we see any real movement on the lower cap coins until ETH maybe gets to 5,500, 6,000, and then we could see some rotation. Otherwise, they'll be pulled up with the weight of ETH, but they're not going to get outsized gains. And there's not a lot we can do about it unless they go into QE and the money printer really flips on. Altcoins will be largely left out of this, unless you're, Solana. The top 10 are all going to see institutional money. They'll be fine, but when you're down on that. When you get out of the top 10, you start getting into a place where it's, 29 million and change other coins, and you're just kind of going, maybe mine's going to get some money put into it.
Yeah.
I thought about this a little bit today too. Last cycle, 3 Arrows Capital and FTX really mucked up the market, right? They were selling their customer Bitcoin for altcoins. And if you look at it kind of skews the chart, I think, and the way altcoins overperformed last cycle because of that. And now institutions are adopting Bitcoin. It's getting to become part of the financial system. And they're really, other than those top 10 coins, Wall Street and the financial system don't have a care in the world that you own Jito, or whatever. They could care less. And they're all into trying to sell their version of DeFi, right? So I watched Eric Trump and his lackeys from World Liberty Fi on Squawk Box, And God, can we get some hosts of these financial shows that have a freaking clue to ask a decent question? And it reminded me, Ben, were you in this space at all in 2017?
Yes, that's when I started. So
do you recall the ICO craze?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this clown from World Liberty Fi reminded me of an ICO guy. And the question, I mean, they could have literally, I mean, knocked this guy out with a couple of good questions, but they didn't understand what they were trying to say. And they're like, well, what do you have? And he's like, well, we got this stable coin, USD1. It's the fastest growing stable coin in the world. And okay, so you buy US treasuries and you put out a stable coin. So, you know, and then, well, and we've got the World Liberty Fi token, and it, you know, it's the hub, it's the center of our ecosystem. The hell does that mean? And that's exactly the same crap you heard. You know, I remember when the ICOs came out, there were some really good projects that had a mission and you know, they were going to do something, even though most of them failed. And then by the middle of that run, every ICO was the same speak. Oh yeah, it's the hub of our ecosystem, and it's a governance token. The hell does that mean? The only way a governance token works is if you can vote on things. And it obviously, World Liberty Fi is a company, centralized. So what am I going to do with my governance token? Did I get to vote whether Eric slicks his hair back or what? You know?
Yeah.
The hell is this crap?
You get to vote. You get to vote on.
Well, this is like I'm watching the 2017 bullshit repeat now with TradFi guys. Like, do we have to go through this again? I've been through it once 7 years ago. I didn't watch this garbage. And now it's just on mainstream media instead of YouTube. It's like, seriously? These guys are clowns.
Well, you know me. I think it's all a clown show.
I know you do. Well, you've called it pretty right, my brother. You've called it pretty right. And, you know.
But it never ends. Dude, it's the same show. For how many years, dude? Like my whole life, dude, as long as I can remember.
So what really caused the big hubbub today, Scott Bessent goes on Fox Business and answers a question saying, no, we're not going to buy any more Bitcoin. We're going to just use the confiscated Bitcoin for the strategic reserve. So it gets everybody freaking up in arms. Now, obviously, somebody, probably the Winklevoss twins or one of the big donors, made a phone call, and suddenly, right after the interview, a tweet goes out saying, "Oh, we plan to look for budget neutral ways to buy Bitcoin." And it's like, yeah, okay, you know,
yeah.
And you know, I mean, and you know, really, if these crackers wanted to do something good, I agree with something he said earlier. He wants to monetize the balance sheet of the United States. Great. They've got trillions of dollars of land. They've got their gold at market value is almost $1 trillion. They've got, 20-30 billion dollars worth of Bitcoin. Who knows? They were supposed to audit and tell us how much they really had 3 months ago, and they still haven't come out with that. And so, but they got plenty of money so freaking kill the Federal Reserve and the Federal Reserve note, quit letting the banks mint money, and go back to real money backed by all the assets of the United States. And guess what? If you own $1, you own a claim on those. That fixes all the fucking problems. They really wanted to fix the problem, but they just make too many.
Fix it, dude.
No, they don't want to fix it. Absolutely not.
This is controlled demolition. I'm full on, dude. There's no way that it's not. I think it was set in place in 1913, and it's been going till now. That's what I wholeheartedly, dude. I mean, go read The Creature from Jekyll Island. Go fucking study anything Austrian economics.
Well, I think
outside of fucking retardonomics, and you'll see that this is fucking being done on purpose, dude.
Well,
There's no
I
way
think, Brad, 1913 is totally different because of the gold standard. But 1971 is where the demolition began.
Sure, but the Federal Reserve Act getting even put in place to where they were able to even coin our own money. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the deal, is that it isn't money, but nobody has been taught that.
Right.
It was dumbing down the education system, so nobody knew the dollar isn't money.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, to this day, well, I mean, you go back to the last administration. Janet Yellen wanted to print $1 trillion coin, wanted to mint $1 trillion coin, and I think somebody finally went back to her and said, "You do know that if the Treasury mints coin, it has to be backed. We're not a bank." You know.
Yeah.
The U.S. is the Treasury is the only one that can mint coin, and they have to have the backing to mint coin.
Right.
So, and then that was, of course, you know, it's like these things, they come in waves. So after they tank the market, then there's a bunch of FUD articles about how the stable coins are going to destabilize the financial markets because they're not backed. And it's like, the dollar's not backed, and at least they buy treasuries. I mean, it's backed with shit paper, but it's still backed more than the dollar you get from your bank when you take a loan. I mean,
dude, I mean, anything. Yeah. I mean, again, it's a debt-based monetary system. So there's no value there. It's like a negative value.
Yeah, you're right. It's a liability every time they print money. I mean, if you had a balance sheet, it's a liability. And they're crazy. So yeah, you know, typical world. But I mean, this nonsense now that every company out here is going to start a blockchain and start a DeFi project. I mean, they're going to corrupt what DeFi means.
Yeah, dude, they're going to corrupt the fucking word DeFi. Because
Exactly.
Nobody knows what it's even supposed to mean. It's supposed to mean decentralized finance, not like some centralized group, right? It's, again, they're trying to they're fucking with us, man. I'm telling you, they're fucking with us.
And Ben, I'm glad to see. You know, each time we have these, I keep wondering if you've been, you know, put locked up or anything down there.
No, not yet.
Yeah,
we talk about our government, but I think you Aussies can outdo the U.S. government to some extent.
Yeah, well, I shared the madness with you guys yesterday. I mean, that's just the latest in the last week. What was it? $13 million taxpayer money spent on 40 rubbish bins. That makes each rubbish bin $300,000 each. So people can voluntarily put their machetes and their knives in these bins, which of course that's what the criminals are going to do.
Yeah.
We'll spend no money or energy actually focus on getting these people and locking them up. Let's put some rubbish bins around.
Well, that's the solution to crime in every idiotic place is to disarm the population so they can't protect themselves. It's the exact opposite of what needs to happen.
As always.
Yeah. Well, look what's, you know, I remember people from the UK years ago, you know, chastising me about the Second Amendment. And I'm like, dude, we have the Second Amendment because your king was an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And we didn't bow down to your king. That's why it's there. So the government can't take over the population. You guys are all now look at them today with the amount of crime they have, and they've disarmed the police. You know, so they have nothing but rampant crime.
Yeah, dude,
that's pretty much every big city in the United States. They have these no gun policies, so the only ones running around with guns are the criminals. which happen to be 20% of the population in most of these cities. They're a major voting bloc. That's why the politicians are catering to them.
Yeah. The banks seem to be going into crisis mode as well, right? Like I shared that one with you guys about, the Commonwealth Bank. It's one of the big banks in Australia, in the top 4. 10 billion profit they did last year, which, that's a big number for us. And that was the same bank that was sending that customer that email saying, we need to know how much cash you've got at home, why you're taking cash out, where you're transferring it. If you fail to comply in the next 14 days, we're blocking the account. You won't be able to move anything or take anything or do anything. It's like, what is going on?
Ben, a question for you on that. I know the housing market's still insane down there, but what about the commercial market? Are business buildings and stuff empty and in trouble?
Look, I'm not across it so much, but I think, if you look at the last 4 or 5 years, it's definitely on a decline, right? Like a lot of businesses are just moving into the remote structure, or a flexible structure at least. And because of the pricing of commercial property and everything else to have that option, people are looking at ways to minimize that. So I don't know the current stats on like vacancy rates or sell-through rates, but definitely on a decline over the last 4 to 5 years. Everything post the pandemic, right?
Right. Well, U.S. the commercial buildings are dead, and those are owned mostly by mid-sized banks. They're in a lot of trouble, and a lot of them are having to eat properties that they loaned $200 million out, and the buildings are selling for $10 million. And obviously, business loans, they just walk away from them, hand over the collateral, and they're gone. So the banks are eating major losses. That's not going to be good. But a little canary in the coal mine that popped up from 2 years ago. I don't know if you guys remember hearing about Evergrande in China. They built all those ghost cities and in China. So they are the largest property developer in China. They are so far underwater and have basically told the banks they can't pay them back. And the banks in China, I expect the money printer to really go burr here in the next 6 months. As in China, they're going to have to be all bailed out because they're in a bank in China that didn't loan Evergrande money.
Yeah.
And I don't know, how deep that contagion goes will be very interesting. How many Western banks are tied to those?
Yeah. Well, here, like New Zealand is interesting at the moment. So their property prices are falling after, huge growth, but now they're back to 2019 prices. So I saw something last night where people are actually just bailing. So just walking out of the house and just leaving.
Yeah.
They now owe the bank more money than the house is actually worth.
Yep.
So, this is due to, downturn, falling mortgage rates, increased affordability, and the increase in migration. So mortgagee sales are going up, mortgage stress and delayed payments or late payments or no payments, that's all heading north. And the prices are coming down.
You know what fixes this?
A little yellow pill, little orange pill, right?
Yeah, little orange pill fixes this. Houses are never going to be a store of value again. This is going to happen all over the world. It's a matter of time. It's whether it takes 2 years or 10 years. It's going to slowly happen because there's no reason that a home goes up in value when it's a depreciating asset.
Right. It's the currency that's going down that makes it appear that the real estate is going up, that the home, right?
But it's also the fact that it's been monetized. See, I mean, really, homes have not kept up with the monetary supply. If you take the M2 and divide it by the housing in the United States by the housing market's 73% down since 1971 versus, I take that back. It's not since 71. It's since like 84 or 5. It actually kept pace for a while, but the housing market's down versus M2. So you're not losing value quite as fast, but you're still losing value. And as soon as people stop storing value in homes and thinking that's my nest egg, and it's just becomes just a place to live, the value goes away. And it should be. These things, homes should still be a beautiful home should be under $100,000, period.
Yeah.
And it's only from 30-year mortgages and things like that. I mean, for crying out loud. I heard they're coming out with a 40-year mortgage here pretty quick.
Yeah, I was just about to say, same over here. They're also going to a 5% deposit and removing. This is for first home buyers, right? Because they're trying to give access to that group of people to get in the property ladder. So 5% deposit, 40-year mortgage, no mortgage insurance, because usually if you lend more than say 90%, then they need a mortgage insurance on it. Our Prime Minister was there saying, "Don't worry about that. The government will take care of it."
Of course they will.
The taxpayer will take care of it.
Well, you know why? Because they've got because it's a funnel of, you've got, when the person sells, capital gain. If they can keep that Ponzi, again, that's a Ponzi as well. If they can keep that running, they can collect taxes off the sale of it. The counties or territories probably there are collecting property taxes. And the banks are collecting interest.
On top of all it. You're on top of all it. Bend over.
Yeah. And it's like, wait a minute. This is unnecessary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, at the average, the median price now is kind of around, in capital cities, around $1 million. So even on that structure, you're going to have to put $50K down. You take it over 40 years, your repayments are still going to be around $5.5K per month.
You're going to pay $12 billion for the house.
At the end of it. Yeah. But so, I mean, like, here's the thing. I mean, if you compare the median price to the median wage, first of all, how the fuck are you going to save $50,000? Like, that's going to be really hard based on the cost of living and everything else. You don't have that kind of disposable income. Let's say you can pull that together, or mum and dad help you out with the 50. Then you're going to have to pay what they call over here stamp duty, which is a tax to buy the house. That's going to cost you more than the 50. And then after you pay your mortgage per month, you're going to be left with $700 for your power, your car, your insurance, your internet, your groceries, your fuel, the whole thing. So people go, right, let's do this. This is our opportunity to get in, very quickly get into financial difficulty, then go get the credit card, then go on the buy now, pay later.
And this is always what happens at top of markets, because everybody's told. I bought my house in 2008. The same thing. I had a broker friend who had been bugging me for a year and a half, going, "Curry, you got to get in this market. You got to get in." I got in. About 2 months later, my house was worth 30% of what it was when I bought it. I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And this is what they do. Everybody thinks fear of missing out. It's no different than the stock market, crypto markets. Housing keeps rising, and then they always come out with all these shitty programs, It's like when I sold cars and the 72-month financing came out, and every dumbass went and bought a car that they really can't afford because the payment got down enough at 72 months. And then after they owned it for about 6 months, they realized, holy shit, this is a $60,000 vehicle and I'm going to end up paying $95K for it. I want to trade it in. Oh yeah, we'll give you $30,000 for it. You know, I can't tell you how many people would come in with like a brand new Cadillac Escalade that they've had for 6 months and go, I got to get out of this thing and get into something more practical. Okay, well, you're going to be about 50,000 upside down.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Dude, all of it, everything.
Yeah, it is. And it's the same, you know, Henry Ford was very much right. If people understood how banking worked, there would be a revolution in the morning.
Mm-hmm. By morning. Yep.
Yeah. Because there's no doubt that nobody in their right mind would sign up for this stuff. But the tricks of the game, well, you can just pay this much for the rest of your life or this way. And nobody factors in what the cost of that is. By the time you pay on a normal house, by the time you pay for 30 years, property taxes, all the repairs, all the maintenance, upkeep, and your mortgage, if you have a standard mortgage and you turn around and sell it after you've been in it for 30 years, you pay the house off and you're now ready for retirement. And you want to go buy a condo in a nice warm area and you sell it, you're usually right in it what you paid and maybe even a little upside down. And after those 30 years, those dollars you're getting back are worth about 35% of what they were the year you bought them. You bought the house.
Yeah.
It's just such fraud. And I think, you know, and I mean, I hate to sound, because I know a lot of people are going to be hurt by this, but I'm cheering for it because homes are not a store of value. They never should have been. And they've kept people from living the quote unquote American dream by jacking the prices up with a lot of fraudulent bullshit.
Yeah. So what would you do, Curry? Let's say you owned a house today. You got 500,000 equity in it. What would you be doing?
I'd be. What's the rate to take a HELOC on that 500,000?
What's the what?
What's the rate to take a HELOC on that 500K?
I don't know what that means.
The interest rate to take a home equity line of credit off of that.
5%.
5%. Oh fuck, baby! I'm sucking that baby dry, and I'm buying Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay. So next question then. So you sell the property. After all that crap, you're left with maybe call it 400K, and you want to buy 400K worth of Bitcoin. How do you do that?
Well, but that's what he's saying is you don't sell it. You take out a home. You take out a loan. You take out like a line of credit on the property, and you stay in the home. But Bitcoin outperforms your 5% loan.
So here's my thing, you know, and this is different for everybody. So I don't want to give terrible advice. Do you have, you know, can you take on another, you know, $1,000 or $1,200 a month in payment? One, you know, do you have the cash flow to do that? If you do, I would, and here's my opinion on it. You suck every penny in equity out of that and keep that house in debt forever. And when you die, you don't turn it over to you abandon the house on your death. You don't give it to your kids. You don't give it to anybody. You give them the Bitcoin. And there ain't nothing they can do about it.
Yeah. Yep.
Because honestly, you know, I've gone through this discussion with my mom because she is hell-bent on giving me a house I will never live in, want nothing to do with. I hate Southern California with a passion. No offense to anybody out there in from Southern California, but it's not my favorite place. And so, but she's like, I want to keep this for you. And I'm like, I don't want the house. I said, please go take a loan, buy Bitcoin. Give me the Bitcoin.
I want the Bitcoin, mama.
Well, you're going to have to pay for the house. I said, no, you take me out of the will. You leave the house to no one. I'm not going to have to pay shit. The bank gets the house when you die.
Why not sell the house instead of keeping it and borrowing against it? Why not sell it while the prices are high?
Capital gains tax.
Right, okay. So at this point in time in Australia, for your owner occupier that you live in, if you sell it, you don't get capital gains tax.
Then I would sell it. US, you don't get that. And that's now obviously freedom people know how to get around that. There's a legal way, but and I recommend going to the freedompeople.org. Here's my plug, even though we're on the Chain Recorder site, and look up the tax course. But anyway, I would, I mean, honestly, like my mom, I've tried to talk to her about doing the tax course and not paying capital gains because she's worried about selling the house. And I told her, take me out of the will, leave the house to no one, give it back to the bank in the end, but suck all the equity out.
Yeah.
And use it for an asset that's going to really appreciate.
So then, hypothetically, sell the house. You've got the $400K in your bank account.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do a $400K Bitcoin transaction?
Oh, that's easy. First of all, I mean, the first thing what I would do is get on Strike or whatever, or go to an OTC desk. Caleb and Brown in New Zealand, I believe, I have an account with them for large purchases. They're easy setup. Get an account with an OTC desk, and they'll be able to facilitate a large buy without you having to go. If you went to one of these exchanges with 400 grand, you'd have to put in probably $4,000 orders, to not spike the price up. If you went and just slammed by with 400K, the price is, you're not going to get the price you wanted at. It's going to run it up.
But see, that's the problem that we would face in that situation, is that moving the money from the bank somewhere else, because the banks are like 10K per month total.
You can get 10K per month total. So sell your house for Bitcoin.
Yeah. There's actually seen more of that lately. There's Darwin on the West Coast. Yeah.
Or here's another one. Use something like Strike or Fold, where they give you a bank routing number and have them wire the money to that for the payment of the house in dollars or Aussie dollars.
Mm.
And they're not banks, they're fintech, and they can immediately convert everything into Bitcoin for you. So just circumvent the banks. We don't need those clowns anyway.
Fucking tell me about it.
I got fired up this morning about all this stuff. I don't know if you can tell, but I was like, they're extremely. It's so ridiculous, and then you get again. You've got the Trump boys showing up. Well, this is why we were debanked by this bank and this bank and this bank. Well, what are you creating at World Libertyfi? Just another piece of shit bank.
Yep.
You're not, just because you run it doesn't make it better. And I don't know, Brad. I mean, I don't think you've gone on Coinbase in a long time, probably, but now they are, if you withdraw from Coinbase starting next year, anything, and you don't tell them you're tax exempt, they are going to take out 24%.
What?
And I'm waiting to find out if that's gonna, because I use their debit card, right, for USDC payments to earn Bitcoin. But if they're gonna count my using their debit card as a withdrawal and try to siphon money from me, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Yeah, dude, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
And unfortunately, I'm kind of in a bind in that regard because it's the only, my bank card hardly ever works down here, my credit union card, and my landlord she's learning Bitcoin, but she wants cash right now. And hopefully by the end of the year, it won't be a problem. She'll take Bitcoin and I won't have any need for those cards. But my primary access to get dollars is to send stable coins back to a credit union or to Coinbase and go to an ATM because the Coinbase card's the only thing that works. So I don't know whether that's going to be a problem with them or not, but I logged in the other day and it's like, we need your tax information. And if you don't supply it to us, we're going to take 24% out of your withdrawals starting in 2026 per government regulations.
Dude, there it starts, bro. There it starts. I mean,
and I don't know, I'll tell you, Gemini is more regulated than they are. It would not shock me if all the U.S. exchanges start that stuff.
Yep.
Which will be.
Yep. Like you said, if you're in the U.S., go to the Freedom People. They'll help you out.
But I got an ace in the hole though. Strike. I have El Salvador residents, and Strike does stable coins like a bank account in El Salvador. So I can have a bank routing number and still receive cash, but it turns up in my wallet as stable coins. The problem is I can't get cash out of an ATM with Strike, so I still haven't figured how I'm going to work that. Although I'm trying to I'm on the list to get a Dolphin card from the Aqua wallet, so which would allow me to take cash out. There's always a way. There's a way to get out of the system, and I've pretty much gotten my way out of the system. Yeah, other than my landlord needing cash for rent, and as soon as she's comfortable accepting Bitcoin from me, then I have no need for that credit union account or access to dollars anymore. That will be a happy day.
Happy days. I agree, man. Anytime you can do away with that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's just the funny part too is the more they tighten the screws, the more the more information gets out how to get around them.
Yep.
Yep. That's the thing is
they're their own demise, dude. They're their own.
Demise. Yeah, they're securing their own demise.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anybody who has figured ways around their bullshit who isn't willing to share it with others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games.
Well, did you hear the Google? So this is hilarious too. Google puts out a bullshit post that all Bitcoin wallets will have to be licensed and KYC'd before you can download them on the Android app. So if you just want to go and get a Bitcoin wallet on your Android phone, it has to be licensed and KYC'd. Now, the Bitcoin community went batshit crazy, and Google quickly said, "Oh no, not for Bitcoin wallets, only other wallets." What other wallets? And so, but when they did that, Okay, that started last night. The price started to drop. Google then went in and bought a huge stake in a Bitcoin miner this morning at a much lower price.
Is it really a free and open market if that shit can happen, dude? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it really? I don't know.
Well, look, information is, but obviously, too, a company the size of Google goes to a market maker and says, "We're interested in buying a 30% stake in this company through buying their shares, but we want to buy it at this price." Well, okay, put out a news story. We're gonna sell in the morning and knock it down to the price you wanted at.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I mean, but that's look, that's how markets work too. I mean, it's no different if we had a flea market and we're haggling over price. If there is somebody who wants to buy, if you're selling sheep and you're selling one sheep a day, and a guy comes in and says, "I want to buy 50 of your sheep today, but I want it at this price." If you're making money on that, that's a boom for you. So yeah, you're going to lower the price, but how are you going to do that without giving the next guy who wants to buy one sheep the same price? So you got to follow when they put out nonsense. That's why I bought Bitcoin today. I mean, there were two things going. There was a lot of bullshit being fed, and it just so happens that there was a CME gap at 17,400. They had to push the price there to fill the gap. Guess where it bottomed this morning? 17,003 something. Right to the gap, and then back to 18K. So, you got it. There's real market driven price action, and then there's market maker bullshit.
The bullshit, brah.
And some look, I spend a lot of time watching this stuff, and I, for the most part now, can spot market maker bullshit versus actual market driven price action. And unfortunately, because wash trading is not regulated outside the United States, Binance, OKX is regulated in Korea, but Binance is the biggest exchange. They're in Dubai. They do what they want, and they're the biggest exchange with the most money. So when they want to collect some liquidity, they send, coins over to Wintermute, and Wintermute executes the trades, shoots the market in their direction. Then they buy it up.
Yeah.
In a fair world, but another reason for true DeFi, what would the price of Bitcoin really be if we had true decentralized exchange? Where the price was set by the market participants. I'm thinking higher. I think it would be more volatile, but the cost is it's more volatile. And you wouldn't have TradFi money coming in if Bitcoin was still going up and down in 30% increments. Everybody lost their mind today. It went down 4%. That was like, I remember in 2017 watching the 10-minute chart, and it would go 10% in two candles and just go boom, 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 boom. And then, and it 20% in a day was nothing. And I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I said, I kind of miss those days. They were fun. It was
more exciting.
Yeah. It was like, it was, unfortunately, I spend a lot of time looking at charts, and they're a lot more fun to look at when they do this.
Right? The flat ones fucking suck, dude.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, you know, it's
just accumulating for fucking months on end.
right, yeah. I mean, if you got any look, volatility is vitality. If a heart didn't beat and the EKG didn't do this, you're dead. Well, it's the same thing for a stock. This is not good. That's like the funniest objection by people that it's too volatile. Well, oh, so you prefer
So learn
one
how
that
to make
goes
money
up-
on both sides. That's what you do. You learn how to make money up and down, dude. That's
Yeah,
like
or learn how to only to buy the dips. I mean, find the bottoms. If you're an accumulator, you don't buy because you're, Fred in the corner of the street is yelling at you about Bitcoin. You learn a little bit and you buy when you're supposed to. But again, I mean, Bitcoin is is no more volatile than most of the stocks in the NASDAQ.
Yeah. I mean, volatility is a short-term view. You can look at something 3 months and go, it's volatile. Look at it over 12 months.
Yeah.
It's not. Look at it over 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. It's like
that's the thing. Put a line chart on Bitcoin on the 12-month chart, and it goes up, down, up, down, up, down, and it's the lines that go up are way bigger than the lines that go down. It's just
I've never looked at the price as an entry point. It's dollar cost averaging all the time, and when you've got a chunk, the money comes into the account, the money goes out of the account. It doesn't matter whether it's 10% up today or 5% down. Who gives a shit? Price doesn't matter.
Similarly to that, DCA, which is a great way to be a passive investor, especially in Bitcoin. I like smart DCA, and basically that's just buy every time it goes down more than 20%. So you just open a chart, find the high, measure down. If it's down 20% or more, you buy.
Yeah.
And those corrections of 20% or more happen twice, 3 times a year max. So I don't care. Same thing. Don't care about price. Just I care about buying it when it's on sale. It's like when and I've never known and I find that funny about people too. I've never known anybody who doesn't like a 50% off sale at their favorite shop. It's the women especially. You put purses on sale for 50% off and you're going to get run over at the door. Okay? Yeah. But then you put a quality asset on sale for 50%. And, oh no, I can't buy it here. I want to see it go up first. It's a sale. It's that's the mindset.
Yeah.
I could lose money. What do you think? You just burned $1,000 on that Gucci purse.
Right.
Literally just lit it on fire and walked around with it. Woo! But damn, I looked good going down the street, didn't I?
Yeah, the purse did. The purse looks good.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a nice looking purse. Doesn't necessarily make you any nicer looking or nicer, kinder.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I know you've got a quality wife, and I wouldn't, but I'm telling you, Brad, the women I've known, they look a lot better with that Gucci purse. They know it. They think I'm telling you, I look hot because I got a Gucci purse.
Yeah. And confidence, confidence is hotness, man. Right.
That's true.
So, yeah.
Hey, Bodie, you want to show us through? Give us a quick demo, chain recorder.
Yeah.
You know what?
Let's have a look. Looking good.
Let's do it. Let's see here. Where's this? All right. Can you guys see that? What's that? Does that alert? Can you see that?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So here's what the new dashboard looks like. So when we and of course this is still, if you notice up here, we're in staging here. So it's still in development. However, this is the new UI. This is the dashboard, and when we want to come over here, here's our chains, and we're able to filter these out. So if we want to, filter and get all the PDFs. Also, we got infinite scroll implemented, which is pretty cool. So then with pagination, you just have to sit here and scroll forever. But rock and roll. Oh, now that reminds me, maybe I need some sort of go back to top button, because you got to scroll all the way the frick back up. But yeah, then now when you want to add a chain, let's see here. I'm not sure what is on this environment, but let's see. This should. There we go.
So, Kerry, we were talking about this yesterday because, the whole Grok situation where Grok, So I did the screenshot of it from the feed on Twitter where the person was saying, I literally took a screenshot of what you had said about your account, and Grok had responded saying that screenshot is fabricated. No original post like it. And Bodie messaged me going, this is exactly the sort of thing that Chain Recorder would solve.
Exactly.
So, trying to put that message out there and saying, hey, grab that screenshot, put it on Chain Recorder. When Grok or anybody comes back and says, no, that didn't happen. That's not true. That's been modified. That's where you can call bullshit. It's own your proof, control the truth.
Well, you saw Grok got banned from Twitter.
Yeah, it banned itself. That's my favorite. I love that. That shit's awesome.
What was the one excuse it gave to somebody? Asked and pushed it, and it said, well, we were in a maintenance cycle, which caused an error in my processing.
Yeah. This is our risk. Even the robots can lie, or the robots are being programmed to lie. So what can you trust?
Well, look, I mean, if you're programming a model to be human, of course they're going to lie.
Yeah.
And it learns from people who lie. I mean, if it's following human behavior, if they're using video, which I think is a big part of how they train it anyway, is they use video. And so if it's learning from human behavior, it's going to act like a human. And when challenged, first thing, it's going to be, and now really think about it, it's like a 6-year-old kid. Did you eat that cookie? No. No.
You sure about that?
You sure? Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, I mean, imagine, I think about this too. Imagine what the sensory overload, even for all that processing power, really is with what they're dumping on it. I mean, it's kind of like stick a kid in a playroom with one toy, and they'll hang in there for a while before they get bored. Stick them in there with 30 or 40 toys, and you'll have a screaming kid who will not leave when you want to go.
Yeah.
And this thing's getting just sensory overload. And I know it's not a person. I know it's supposed to just process, but it's supposed to learn. So it's got to have some effect on the thought process that it does. I mean, bombarded with information.
Yeah.
And absolutely, that would, I mean, it probably will be required in the future. The more we get into video calls, verbal agreements, right? I mean, we make a business deal over Zoom. I'll send you the paperwork. Well, I'll probably want to chain that video.
Yeah. Well, and the document,
and the document when it gets there. But if you chain the video and the document doesn't come what was agreed upon, they said, no, this is what you agreed on. Well, let's check the video.
Yeah.
And there's no way for them to, you chain it. There's no way for them to come back and say that's AI, because that's going to be the next thing is people are going to reproduce
they're
conversations in AI.
Yeah.
It's a brave new world, boys.
Well, we have some solutions. We actually do. You know what I mean?
We do. Yeah, I know.
Simple but powerful. Simple but powerful.
Hopefully we stay ahead of the machines, at least until I die.
It's. I mean, it used to be. I don't want to sound negative and everything, but it used to be exciting about the technology, about the opportunity, and everything else used to be quite exciting. And now it feels quite scary around everything that's going on, that instead of like diving into it and getting involved in it, it almost feels like it's the reverse. I want to get out of the system, want to get out of the bank, want to get out of the government. It's almost like we're wanting to go the other way.
The pendulum swings in terms of, if you go back when we had monarchies, right? Everything was highly centralized. Everything led to the king, right? And then the world became, with the founding of the United States, a whole new decentralized model, and the world got decentralized. And then the pendulum has swung back to centralization and totalitarianism. And people are starting to go, well, we don't like that. And we're going to have a swing back in the other direction. And the biggest hope is while we make that swing back, that doesn't cause nuclear bombs to go off,
Yeah. Well, the mass exodus of the UK continues. Australia is following suit. It's going to be an interesting remainder of 2025 to see what kind of rolls out.
Yeah, and I think going forward, beyond that, again, how do I think about this place too? I mean, this is the population between Salvadorans coming home that had fled for years and the people who are finding it, like me, a wonderful place to live. How much more population can move here, and can they maintain before it gets a little silly? What changes would happen? I mean, everything's been great so far, but maybe a year from now, do they put a moratorium on people coming in, or what do they do?
No.
Hopefully they don't kick me out.
Right? Get the fuck on, Curry.
Beat
it, Waddle.
What is it? Tom Cruise in Risky Business. He meets with the recruiter, and he was like, Harvard doesn't really need it was Harvard or Princeton. Joel, let's face it, you're just not Princeton material. Yeah. And he goes, Bill, sometimes you just got to say, what the fuck, make your move. And the girlfriend walks in and says, how'd it go? And he goes, looks like Illinois State.
Yeah.
So in my case, looks like St. Lucia. If I get out of here.
Yeah. Get a boat.
Get a boat.
Yeah,
that's right. Get a boat.
Row your ass across the ocean, dude.
Hey, if I get a boat, at least I'll know I'm living under maritime law.
Hey, amen.